All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, January 6th. And could I have a roll call, please?
Finkler is excused. Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Relke.
Here.
Rosted.
Here.
I acknowledge this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
Okay, thank you. Would look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rosted, second by Alder Roki. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment? None? All right, thank you. And then under new business, discussion regarding waiving the maximum driveway width and allowing the width not to exceed 37 feet at 333 Transit Road. And that's Estes, right? Transfer? Okay.
I just have a clarification. We had a miscommunication with R&M on this. The request is for the driveway waiver to be up to 47 feet, not 37.
47.
It should be 47. The normal, or the maximum commercial driveway width is 36. With this project and the turning radiuses for the trucks and everything, the city engineer thinks it's appropriate at up to 47 feet, and this driveway width is helps make the site plan and everything work a lot better for traffic in and out on that site. So staff is supportive of the waiver up to 47 feet.
Okay. All right, any discussion on this item? Good moving this forward? All right. Thank you. Then next is the discussion of resolution needed to join the statewide public safety interoperable communication system for Dodge County, Wisconsin grant program. Scott, if you'd.
First try. Good evening. So what Dodge County is putting together they're exploring a new radio system for the whole county, and on top of that, maybe antennas have to be built as well. So they got with the state and doing a grant program through the county for a radio system, and each entity can do up to $50,000 for radios. And as Ryan knows, the radios aren't cheap. So we can go up to 50,000 with a 20% match, and part of writing the grant is I have to have that resolution approved by the council.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. I have no problem. I was just wondering if you're asking for an extra 10,000 or up to 10,000 next year for doing the 20% matching?
Yeah, it's a 80-20 grant, so if we got to the 50,000, it would be 10,000 of it that the city would have to pay. They just want that. They said the money isn't going to be, they won't need that until next year, 2027. So we're looking for that to update our radios, because our radios are getting pretty old. They may go to 800 megahertz, where we're not that in Columbia County. And Dane County, we didn't get in with them when they went to Danecom, so we can communicate with Dane County on a different frequency, but it's an unmonitored channel. So if we had the person down or a collapse or something and command didn't catch it, dispatch wouldn't be there to catch it as well. So radio's not being cheap. We saw this, and it's probably to replace everything. It's going to be more than that. So thought if we could get that grant, get some of the radios replaced through the grant, that would be great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You had a statement.
The belief here is that we would know by budget time if we've been awarded the grant, and then it doesn't hurt putting in the application and the resolution of support, and then obviously this would be part of the 27 budget process to determine if we're going to move forward and to what extent the city's obligation would be.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Alder Rosted.
So, I think you kind of answered it, but just to make sure. this resolution doesn't put the city on the hook for $10,000 if it's awarded.
We would have the opportunity to decline the grant if awarded, is my understanding.
My concern is this is the two-part department, so the city shouldn't be footing the full 10,000. The rural group should have a piece of the pie.
Yeah, and that's something that we
Right.
can obviously work out in the final.
That's why I'm just
Yeah.
curious if, when we apply in the application, if the city's gonna get the full effect. If this resolution dictates that, I guess is my question.
I
Or can we split it
I
once
think
awarded?
we can split it once it's awarded and,
Okay.
and figure that out.
And then are these number, I mean, if it's not the 2027, is this grant through the military or affairs, are they going through a certain area that they know the number, what the number is? And if they do, are they gonna honor it to 27? Because this number, if they're not gonna honor it, this number is not gonna be close to correct.
No, they know it's not gonna be that, so we're gonna, it's gonna be, probably inflate the quote, to put it on the grant. Because right now, the pricing for what I was going after is just gonna be a couple thousand underneath that, so I figured that would give a pillow to cover the uptick. So,
Is it enough pillow? Because I know, I mean,
not overall, as I said, it's gonna have to be,
because I know how important they are too. I mean, they're basically the lifeline for our employees.
Yeah.
So it's not something.
If I understand this correctly, Scott, the maximum grant award's $50,000.
Yeah.
And so the city, as we go through the budget process, will have a much better understanding of what that total dollar amount is. And the council can determine, you know, we have to do a minimum of 10%. If the total cost of this is 75 and the council wants to prioritize this and identify $25,000 of support, whether that comes from a portion from the rural, portion from the city, however that works out and however that's to be structured, that can be determined as we go through the budget process.
yeah, this resolution just gets signed by the city, and then I was gonna talk with, rural group to see if, what they're willing to pay, go over and above. So,
Alder Meyer?
So as I'm reading through here, the proposed project details, the 47,854, is that replacing every radio that you have in your department? I would like to see an estimate on replacing everything. At the end of the day, like Ryan said, these are lifelines for our people that are entering a burning building or whatever they're doing. I mean, this is totally a great option, and I would support the city footing the $10,000 if we're not gonna get cooperation from the rural group. Not saying we won't, but I would like to also see an estimate on getting everything up to where they truly should be, so we can properly budget to make sure that we can get these done in the future, sooner than later.
yeah. Well, I did pricing, but it's gonna be a little over twice what I'm getting through the grant,
So,
just
under 100 grand total,
just a little over. Yeah,
I would get a quote.
okay.
Alder Lawson?
So can you explain for a novice how this change impacts your communication with the police department, EMS, and Columbia County?
So with Columbia County, we are all on, it's narrowband frequencies that we're on. And that's what they're doing at Dodge County as well, but they are having issues and they're exploring going to a different radio frequencies. So 800 megahertz is what it's called, is what I'm hearing they're leaning towards. So it works on a different scale, so 800 megahertz, that'll put us, and then there's the dual band radio, we'd still be operating in Columbia County, so we would actually have to buy, which is a more expensive radio, which is a dual band radio. So we can work with them, and Dane County is 800 now, so that would allow us to work with everybody again. Included on there, I believe, is Wiscom. So we'd be able to talk to people throughout the state if we're going to like a MABUS event. we had to go to like counties away. So it's better interoperability with all departments. So right now it's communicating with Lifestar sometimes can be interesting because some of the radios that are coming from out of town doesn't have our fireground channels in them. So it's a matter of interoperability to get us to be able to communicate with other communities better in counties, other counties.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments? Are we good moving this forward then?
Right.
Okay, good.
Right. Thank you.
Discussion on the wage study and proposed wage scale.
First thing to explain is, I'm sure all of you anticipated this being a closed session item, and the city attorney informed me that it could not be. If there are specific positions that you would like to discuss in closed session, you can either say those now, get them to me after tonight, and we can have a closed session item at the next council meeting or at the next committee of the whole meeting to discuss any specifics. But the options were listing all 44 positions separately as closed session items or putting it on in the public discussion portion of the agenda. So I opted for that one. As I summarize, there's 3 documents. There's the data that we were able to collect. My hope is that each year we're able to continue to kind of crowdsource this information, and my hope is to continue to get more and more submittals each year so that we grow the data set. The second document lists kind of the average for each position, with 80% of that average as a minimum salary and 120% as a maximum. And then we looked at similar positions and tried to group them to come up with, instead of every position having its own wage scale, of trying to have a more streamlined wage scale. Happy to answer any questions, clarify anything, but this is kind of where we're at. I would also add that this is kind of step 1 in my compensation plan. The next step would obviously be looking at what a merit pay policy looks like and establishing criteria for someone who is in the minimum to medium range, from the minimum to the middle of their position, what the criteria is for that individual to qualify for a merit raise, and then what the criteria for someone above the midpoint to the maximum of how they qualify for a merit wage. But I felt it was important to kind of get a established wage scale put in place, so that that's kind of step 1 before we dive into the merit pay policy.
Okay, Alder Lawson.
Do we make a decision yet on whether to do another scale for the like part-time hourly folks?
That can obviously be a phase 2 or a phase 3, but I felt kind of our focus now is how we get through this step, and I don't know if we're closer or further away from where we were yesterday. So kind of this being step 1 that I know we've put some time into getting to this point.
Okay, Alder Reed.
Oh, thank you. I guess to start, I was rather shocked to see it show up on open instead of closed session. But what I really want to say is thank you. Thank you so much for all of your hard work doing all of this research. I mean, this easily saved, $15,000, $20,000 on hiring an outside service. So really, really appreciate all the hard work it did to gather this.
But at the same time, it's not, I appreciate that, but it's not perfect, right? And I've been through these, and I know the city's been through them. It's never a fun or easy process to get through, and it's, my hope is this is step 1, and it's something that I know I've talked to a couple of you about, is that we develop an annual revisit. Maybe it's not every year, but every 2 years or every 3 years, we're going to look back and make adjustments to continue to be competitive with our peers, and the data set that we've collected, there's plenty of criticism here of, are these peer communities or not, right? And so you get some that are smaller and maybe a different setting than we are, and some that are a little bit larger, and but I don't know that there's a perfect science to how you do this either.
Okay, Alder Meyer?
I would like to see the PD administrative manager become a closed session topic, along with the senior center manager, and there was another one that I had just seen, public works director.
Alder Rusted?
So basically, it's just an FYI for council, correct? But I see it's on
Well,
the council packet for approval and adoption.
it is, but obviously the committee of the whole has to decide to move it forward, or as Marcus has just identified, would like to have a discussion of some of these in closed session. I think that the challenge is we can list specifics to talk about in closed session to meet the closed session, but then we're gonna have to be careful that we stick to
Yeah.
just discussing those positions in closed.
I would echo what Alder Reed said about the work put into it as well. But when I got elected, I think it was one of the first meetings, I think it was the first meeting, we moved everyone to midpoint. And now to see the amount of red below midpoint kind of worries me a little bit. I guess I never went back to read what we said in that policy, because I know we wanted to stay ahead of the horse ahead of the cart, but it seems to me quite a few positions fell behind the cart.
And I think that to explain that, we moved everyone to the midpoint of their wage. We didn't spend any time talking about if the wage was the right range. We just moved everybody to the mid. What I think you're starting to see here is we're now looking at what other positions, what other communities are paying similar positions to try and establish what a median wage is for that position, right? And then I think one of the conversations that I know that Alder Lawson and I had as we went through this process is we've identified funding for implementing a merit pay program. One of the first things the council could do is those below the mid of their range, the council could say, we're going to allocate X amount of dollars of that 45,000, I forget the exact number, to bring people up to the midpoint of the range if that was the council's prerogative. There's nothing to say that that money has to solely be earmarked to merit raises if the council feels that you, and maybe it's not every position, maybe there's certain positions that you want to increase them to their midpoint, that's the council's discretion to do.
Well, I guess I think it would, it's part of our job, maybe to go back and reread back in April of 2 years ago to see what we decided there, to follow through. I mean, if we want to keep at midpoint or higher, then I think we have a duty to bring the below back up to mid and then reassess the situation.
I completely understand, but I guess what I'm trying to, maybe I didn't explain it well enough. I don't have any understanding of how that original pay scale was developed, right? It was, and whereas this is at least, I'm a little more confident in this, is that there's some data behind it and we know where the ranges are coming from, if that makes sense, or at least where the median wage is, where we've sourced that from.
I guess with that, I guess it'd be my liking or my wish that all the below midpoint get assessed with the merit raise money set aside, or see what the cost analysis.
Yep.
And then report back.
Yep.
On top of, I mean, Marcus's stuff can go to closed session the next cow, whenever you get time to do the below midpoint, to see what that would cost.
We have another comment. Alder Lawson.
So, I don't know if we talk about this here or in closed session, but we should be all on the same page about the point of a range and a midpoint and how it's used. Because if you really are, focusing on having everyone at the midpoint, then there's no point in having a range, right? Like the idea is to have, I thought, and maybe this is not what we want, but if you're looking at a range, then you want people to be somewhere within that range, compared with their, experience, right? And that means you might have someone below the midpoint, and that might be appropriate. So I think we have to look at some of these, if we were to adopt the ranges and say, okay, for this person, yeah, that's appropriate for them to be where they're at, above, below, whatever it is. And then we probably should have at least a theory on how we would move forward, for people that are below and above that we want to move or not move, how does that work?
So I've worked in a couple of other communities where, very similar to what you're saying, you've got people all through, somewhere between let me use the correct terminology, the minimum to the midpoint. You've got people in between the minimum and mid, and you've got people between the midpoint and the maximum. And the idea is that you're being honest, from the minimum to the midpoint, you had criteria that were easier to achieve in your performance evaluation that then you moved up maybe to the midpoint or maybe took another increase from the minimum, getting closer to the midpoint. And that the criteria from getting to the midpoint to the maximum in your performance evaluation was a lot tougher to accomplish, whether that was tied to goals or certain benchmarks, but that's how you moved through the scale. And that was when I was in Appleton and when I was in Middleton. The performance evaluation at both places was tied to your increases. And Appleton had a step plan, which was popular then. It's kind of dated now. But there are different ways of looking at this and doing it.
And these were based obviously on the communities that you,
Right, it was those communities' policy
Right.
and their practice of how to address compensation.
right, okay. Alder Meyer?
I agree with what Alder Lawson has stated, right? We have to adopt some type of range. What I don't want to see this turn into is another example of cost of living to bring people's wages where it's supposed to be, right? Cost of living is to offset what inflation or whatever changes throughout the economy that year, the living cost is. I truly believe that everything that we do in the city should be based on merit. So if our police chief's working 100 hours every 2 weeks, and sorry, Matt, but you're working 80, right, and you're just doing the bare minimum, we should be rewarding the employees that are putting forth effort no matter what. They're not just scratching the very surface of what they need to do. I'm just going to openly say I don't support just bringing everybody to the midpoint. There's ranges for a reason, and if you excel at your job, you're going to end up at the max sooner than somebody who's just coming to work and going through the motions every day. So, I mean, I would like to see what the cost on bringing everybody to mid is, but I can't support that. Merit is merit, and we're not just handing things out. We need to reward the employees that come to work every day and do a really good job.
Alder Rossett?
I agree with everything being said, but at the same token, there's only one new sitting alder when this got voted to bring the midpoint. So as a council, either we need to jump ship and say we're gonna deviate from midpoint, or we have to stick. We can't keep sending mixed messages as a council to the employees. they look at us as people to come to when they need help or for wages and stuff. And if all except for one of us sitting here, we all went to midpoint last time, and now there seems to be maybe conversation, we don't want to go, and I get it, we need range, but the council has to pick a lane and stay, so we're not going back and forth. I don't think it's fair to the employees. That's my feeling.
You have another
Yeah.
comment?
Yep, I'm that sitting alder that wasn't here when you guys went to midpoint, and I'll be the first one to say I don't support moving everybody to a midpoint. The amount of work that's went into this, whether it's you're not going to a minimum dollar value for somebody who's been in the field for 20 years, right? You're going to be at least usually hired in at the midpoint or a little bit higher. Skill and experience is tough to pay for. But we should do this right. I'm just going to openly say I fully oppose taking everybody to the midpoint.
Another comment, yeah?
Well, he brought up a good point. Like, when we started new hiring process, is it best practice that we're hiring at midpoint or not below? I mean,
For all new hires, we are listing the minimum to the mid
Okay.
as the salary range advertised for position. Within that, there is obviously negotiation that occurs. Some people are more focused on, negotiating for vacation time and other kind of benefits outside of compensation. Others are focused on compensation. We've been, I think in the past 2 years, we've been successful at midpoint or below of almost all of our recruitments,
Okay. So you list mid or minimum to mid.
is what's listed in the salary or
Okay. Thank you.
advertisement.
Okay, any further discussion? So I don't know how, I mean, it doesn't sound like we're ready to
Well,
move this forward.
I'll
so-
synopsize what I've heard.
Okay,
Okay, we're gonna have a closed session on January 20th's C.O.W. to discuss specific positions, including the police department administrative manager, the senior center manager, and the public works director, and that I will, at the same closed session, I'll have figures on an increase to midpoint for everyone currently below for that, so that you have that data figure to know what that is.
okay.
So
So,
what about the theory on how we approach things going forward? Because if, like Ryan said, we need to have something we decide on and we kind of stick with, whether that be whatever it is, right? So we're going to have that discussion in a closed
I don't
session?
know that can be closed because that's a overall compensation philosophy that isn't specific to a position, so that have to be discussed in open.
Okay.
What I can share, and maybe this is related, maybe it's not, we've started work on what a merit pay policy is going to look like. There's a lot of work yet to be done. I don't think that we're gonna be ready for January 20th, but that is likely to come in the first quarter of this year, to have in place for potential merit program to be implemented later this year.
I think that may have a large impact on the overall approach. And if we don't have that ready, it could impact how folks feel about.
Maybe we can hit fast forward and see where we are, at least with a draft. But I don't know that that's closed session eligible.
and if I recall to Ryan's statement that when we did discuss this, it was that we would try to bring everybody to midpoint. In some cases, yes, in some cases not. In fact, there's one on here, it's only 2 cents below. So, I think the object is to try and work towards that. But to Marcus's viewpoint, bringing people forward on the merit and rewarding the good workers, so. I think, I mean, you've got a couple more statements here, but I think we're at a point where we'll just not forward this and take number 8 off of the regular meeting until the January 20th. Marcus Meyer, you got another comment?
I do. I'm going to contradict what I told Matt. I think we can take these to closed session specifically while still approving these pay ranges tonight. The amount of work that has went into this, the concerns that I have in wanting to go to closed session isn't with regard to what the ranges are. It is with regards to a lot of other data points around these positions. And I would advocate that we approve these tonight.
Alder Reed.
Thank you. I'm fine approving the pay ranges that have been found in the study. We are not making any kind of agreement or promise to do anything with it. It's just acknowledging that the study exists. And I also think that we need to make it an official document. I would rather not see a plan on the middle point until we also have some discussion options for merit. So I guess I would like to be surprised how much information has been gathered on both items to see if either could go into a closed session next time.
I think I'm good with moving this forward. If we're thinking about it from that perspective, I would approve this and separately have those other discussions.
Okay. Everybody's good with that then? Moving this forward? Okay, all right. Okay. Then, next on the agenda is to convene to close session per 19.851E for deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically to discuss development proposals for the city-owned property at the corner of Tower Drive and Western Avenue.
I will move to convene the closed session per state statute 19.85, sub 1, sub E, for the reasons stated.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Rosted. Roll call, please.
Rosted,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Relke,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Hammer,
Aye. Oh, aye, yeah, I can vote on this.
Reed.
Not used to voting.
Ayes have it, 6-0.
Okay, we will come back to reconvene, and then we will also be having the regular common council meeting yet tonight, so. Yep. You good? Okay, then I would look for a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting.
So move.
Second.
Motion by
I was
Alder Meyer,
waiting,
second by Alder Reed.
There are 3 people down there waiting to
All
go.
in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. You know, Molly's not here, and everybody's just really slow on the draw here, so. Are we good with moving right in, or does anybody need to take a break? Move right in. Okay, very good. Let's move. All right, welcome everybody to tonight's Common Council meeting of Tuesday, January 6th. Could we have a roll call, please?
Finkler is excused. Hammer,
Here.
Lawson,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Reed,
Here.
Relke. Here. Rosted.
Here.
Got my foot caught. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I acknowledge this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
Okay, thank you. I would look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the removal of number. Are we
No, we're not
Okay.
removing that.
With the correction to number 6 to be 47 feet, not 37.
Okay. Can we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rostad, second by Alder Meyer to approve tonight's agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, let me get on to the right meeting. Okay, in front of public comment? Oh, Ruth Hermanson? Oh, when it comes up? Okay. Okay, then committee minutes for file are the Hillside Cemetery of November 18th of 25, Library of October 21st of 25, and November 18th of 25, and PFC of November 6th of 25. Next would be consent agenda, and that would be the special common council meeting minutes of December 9th, committee of the whole and common council meeting minutes of December 16th of 2025, and mayoral appointments.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Meyer to approve tonight's consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alder Lawson.
So for the mayoral appointments, looks like we've got 2 people go on the plan commission. So if 2 people left recently, I just want to make sure, do we have any concerns there with people leaving the plan commission? Was there an issue?
Andy Traxler, I forget what the reasoning was, but I think part of it was that his kids are more involved.
He didn't have
in the
enough time.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of youth sports
Sports coaching and such, yeah.
And he just doesn't have the time anymore.
Right. And then Steve Bright just didn't
Wasn't
see.
a good match for what he wanted to work
Right.
on.
right.
Okay, so just coincidence.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Thank you.
So any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consent agenda approved. Moving on to new business, consider and take action regarding amendments to the bylaws of the Community Development Authority, and this was to the CDA on December 15th of 2025. So, Mike?
Yeah, so this cleaned up some language throughout. Some of it is just more minor things, creating better focus for what the duties are. Some of the major items is the expenditure of funds. Currently, that requires, if there's spending over $10,000, that requires council approval. It's proposed to move that to $25,000. That's consistent with the current purchasing policy, as well as the maximum grant award for facade grants. The other thing aligns the CDA terms to along to what the other committees are at 3 years instead of 4 years. There's a couple other minor stuff in there that's shown in in red, what's been deleted and added. But those are the two major items that change in the bylaws.
Okay, could we have a motion before discussion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion
I'll
by Alder
second.
Rosted, a second.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Alder Rolke. Now discussion, Alder Meyer?
I was absent from the CDA meeting. I was in Anago for work. I 100% disagree with moving this to $25,000. I can tell you that if Matt came to us and said he just spent $25,000 3 times over the course of a month because whatever, that's not in the capital. I mean, I know my head would spin. These are not, yes, it's in a fund that's budgeted, but we should not be approving $25,000 without any type of input from the city council as a whole, overall for the city. Comparing it to what the city administrator can approve, I disagree. There's not a single thing that Matt has approved that hasn't come to council or had discussions with council prior. And perfectly honest, I would honestly like to see that amount of 10,000 be cut in half before it comes to council. So that's my 2 cents on this. The rest of it I'm good with, but we should not be allowing a community-driven committee to spend $25,000 at a crack.
I know there's other communities with CDAs. Is this in line with?
Columbus has one of the more restrictive community develop, in its current state, Columbus has one of the more restricted community development authorities in the entire state. Community development authorities are designed to be intended in state statutes to be more independent authorities. Through the bylaws, it's been clearly communicated that the city has wanted a less independent community development authority, and that's why the bylaws are in which they're the way they're written. CDAs are meant to be more independent, and so that this provides a little bit of flexibility, and aligns it, and speeds up some of the process, and aligns it with the current program and the existing purchasing policy. But in other communities, they have the authority to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions, in other communities. Just understand that. And CDA did not ask for hundreds of thousands. They discussed and are recommending it to go to 25,000.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling uncomfortable going over 10,000 without pre-approval.
Okay. Alder Meyer, another comment?
Just to rebut that, like, these are tax dollars, they come from TIF districts, right? I get that. At the end of the day, we are the stewards for the money of the city of Columbus, not a committee or a commission. I sit on CDA, I'm uncomfortable with this. I sit on council, I'm uncomfortable with this. I want to be able to speak to the people of Columbus. If things hit the fan over a $24,000 upgrade to a building in our downtown that doesn't fit what we want to see in the city of Columbus. Not only that, these are grants, right? Anybody who's coming to us should be able to wait 2 weeks to be able to have a council approval on a grant. They're not coming to us to replace urgent things of that nature. I'm not comfortable with it at 10,000. I wasn't comfortable with that when I went to CDA when I got elected. Surely can't support 25,000.
Any other discussion? Alder Lawson?
I'm curious what Matt's thoughts are.
I'll echo Mike's comments about CDAs being weird in relationships with cities. Whitewater's CDA leased space from the city to have an office at City Hall. It's very unique. Some communities want them as part of the inner workings of the city. Others, it's how far can we be distanced from the city to be seen as a completely different entity than the city. So I'll also echo Mike's comments of that our bylaws have been structured to have the CDA interwoven with the city. I don't know. I can't speak to which is better or worse than another. This is clearly one of those conversations that is a council decision, right? Of what is the spending authority you want a committee to have without getting, review and input from the council.
I think for the purpose of administering the grant program, I'm okay with 25,000.
Any other discussion on this? Alder Rosted.
How how much money is in the fund for the facade grant? What was, I guess, what was budgeted? I didn't go back and look.
Annually, last year and this year, 32,500.
And then, so your bylaws, I'm assuming there's a different policy for the facade grant on how they need to be presented to the CDA? Like they got a curriculum to follow, or?
They have program requirements that they have to meet. It's a reimbursable grant.
Yep.
So they have to pay the entire cost of the project first, show proof of that payment, and then the money that was awarded gets, that check gets written. So, there's checks and balances, in the process.
And the maximum award is 25,000 for a single project.
And how many times in the life of the facade grant have we awarded 25,000? Have we awarded one?
The, prior to me arriving here, the maximum amount was 1,000 for a project.
Oh, yeah, we moved
We
that.
changed that to 25,000, midway in 2024. And so we had a $25,000 project in 2024, and in 2020, I'm trying to think of what it was in, in 2025. And we have several $25,000 applications that are going to be reviewed at the January meeting.
I guess I have a hiccup or a concern is, like Marcus said, to give a group of volunteers that serve on the CDA the same spending allowance as the administrator. I don't know if that's a really good comparison, right? And in my opinion, because the administrator, it's an emergency, he needs to do it. I understand that the grants probably can wait 2 weeks for approval. I just don't think, without better educating myself, how one commission is gonna be granted the same parameter as our city administrator. I need help understanding better how this is a good move for the city. That's my hiccup.
Alder Roki.
Just to clarify, because I have not sat on the CDA, so I am less familiar than Alder Meyer would be, but your budget for the year, you said $32,000. That's your whole budget. If you award
No.
somebody 25,000,
That's the budget for the facade grant.
okay.
That's not CDA's entire budget. There's other budget lines for various things. There's a fund balance of around $90,000 that could be used for redevelopment purposes. CDA has not identified a role or a place for that money. When there was more requests for facade grant money last year than what we had money for in the annual budget, CDA decided at that time for that situation not to dip into the fund balance. But yet CDA still has not yet to kind of identify a project or a purpose for the fund balance money that's in their account. And that's about $90,000.
And for the facade program specifically, I assume there's a set of aesthetic parameters that each person would have, like a unified vision for downtown Columbus that,
There is not, each application is submitted without design guidelines. Their design guidelines, and this can be in other commercial areas, not just downtown. So it's any commercial district. But for a project downtown, there's not a required design guidelines. We encourage that, and we have those design guidelines as on the webpage along with the application. So we share what those, and encourage people to do those projects. So we've mostly seen positive roles on that, and that discussion has been held on whether or not we should have design guidelines or not. So that discussion has been held, and at this time, CDA has decided not to have requirements.
But in a year where you have multiple applications for these grants, would you give kind of preference or precedence to those that are following what the CDA
That's
has
up to CDA.
encouraged?
That's up to CDA.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Alder Meyer.
I'm gonna double down. I'm really glad that everybody's getting involved in this, but we should not be giving I mean, Matt can't spend over $25,000 without council approval, emergency or not. And this is nothing against Mike, but I'm gonna use his title. We shouldn't be taking the Director of Community and Economic Development or the CDA and putting them at the same level of fund allowance as the CEO of the city, right? We're the board of directors. He's the CEO. If he screws up, he comes to us, right? I will vote no on this if it goes above 10,000. I think everybody should vote no on it or amend the current motion to keep that and approve the remaining amendments.
Alder Austin.
Alder Lawson brought, can you recall or restate what you said you were comfortable with? The 20, you
I'm
were,
comfortable with the bylaws if there is a compromise to be had. I'm comfortable with the bylaws saying up to 25,000 for the purpose of administering the facade grant. So if there's hesitancy to spend up to that amount outside of that grant process, which has been established as working, we want people to use. If we're okay with the CDA doing it for that purpose, there could be couple little words added here, so that, in that case, it would be acceptable, and others, it could be a different amount, essentially.
Because, outside the facade program, CDAs do redevelopment. They could be involved in redevelopment of commercial property. They could be involved in demolition. They could be involved in redevelopment, and that's where additional spending and projects could occur.
so does, and this might be down in the weeds or maybe off topic. I don't think it is. With what's decided tonight, does that affect if we want to use the CDA for funding alone on the public safety building? Could it,
Nothing here will have any impact on that.
okay.
Alder Meyer, something other than what you've already stated?
No, I'm just gonna go off of what attorney, Alder Lawson said. I still think that as stewards of the city council, of the pocketbook, we should not be, whether it's a facade grant or not, right? If we up this and somebody does something in the CDA, and I'm not saying that they're out to just make whatever, right? It could be absolutely awful. But they're gonna get paid for it regardless, right? As a end all be all, stop, final check, just like any other department or committee in the city. I think we need to keep it the same and leave it at $10,000 for facade as well.
Alder Lawson.
I think we should have had a motion probably before all the discussion, so.
We did.
We did?
Yes. Motion to approve as presented.
And it was already seconded?
Yes.
Okay. It was so long ago, I forgot.
Well, I'm hearing a lot of opinions here, and some of them, with Alder Lawson's last statement, that to be specifically for the facade grant. I think we're at a point where we take a roll call vote and then see what we need to do going forward. So roll call vote, please.
Rostad,
Nay.
Reed,
Nay.
Relke,
Nay.
Lawson,
Aye.
Meyer.
Nay.
Nays have it, 4-1.
Okay, then we would look for some direction for CDA. Is it strictly the financial part of it? Everything else is fine in there? Is it strictly the financial part?
In my opinion,
And so CDA at your next meeting, whenever that is, discuss.
Well, I don't think that's necessary. I think if the council wants to set that and amend that amount, the council tonight can make a motion with a different number. I think that's possible here tonight, if the council wishes. If the council wants to send this back to CDA and come with something else, we can do that.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the adjusted amended bylaws for the CDA with keeping the current amount at $10,000 across the board for all approvals that need to come to council.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Reed. Discussion. Alder Rosted.
So just to clarify, your motion is to accept the amendments in red, all except for the expenditure fund of excess of 10,000.
Correct. Everything, in my opinion, is good, and in my motion, minus the 25,000, that goes back to $10,000.
Thank you.
Okay.
10,000.
Right. Yeah. No, from 25 to 10, yeah. All right, then let's have a roll call on this one too.
All right. Rostad,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Relke,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay, very good. Okay, next on the agenda is consider and take action to allow the Historic Landmark and Preservation Commission to replace the front doors of the Rest Haven, update some of the electrical, and add the accessibility push-button access. So, the information is in front of you, and look for a motion first before we go into discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second, but do we want Ruth Hermanson to speak?
Yeah, once.
Okay.
Once with those, yeah.
Second.
So we have a motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Rostad. And now Ruth, if you'd like to speak on behalf of this. He's going to turn it. Yeah, he's got it on. It's on.
Okay, all right. Good evening. I want to thank you all for everything you do here. It's a thankless job, cold nights to come out, so much cold, dark nights. Okay, before you have a list of the items that we'll be working on the front door, what we want to do, as you know, we have overall quite a big project out there. But what we want to do is get started on like a little bite and nothing like your front door to be able to open and close it. Right now, the door really isn't that secure. There's big gaps in the close and it locks. It's poor. You know, you do a padlock and everything. So it's much needed. What I did notice, and I apologize for not finding this sooner, you have everything there in front of you, but I don't see the actual price of the door. So your numbers would add up to about $9,400. The door comes in around $10,000, And so the price of the project would be somewhere between 19.4 and with a little grace because it is this old house, possibly up to 21. We have all the funds to pay for this. They've all been raised already, so we have the money in the bank. I think right now in the Rest Haven Fund, I might be wrong on this, but it's close to around 139,000 that we've raised for it. So this is a $20,000 project. We have the funds. We just need your approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Rosted?
So this is a city-owned building, correct?
Yes.
Does the city has, we've put $0 into it? It's all fundraising?
Mhm.
Even better.
Alder Wilkie?
I think this is a great project, and I just really thank and appreciate the HLPC. It's been several years worth of fundraising on this project, and I appreciate that dedication. I think it's going to be a great project.
Okay, any other discussion?
Do we need to specify a dollar value not to exceed on this because it's out of a city fund, technically? I mean,
It is a city fund.
correct, it is a city fund. Do
It's
we
a-
need to, I mean, we can approve it, but I don't
Yeah.
want it to go off of, I don't want her to hit 21,000 and the bids be 19,000, right?
You should probably set a not to exceed amount. Ultimately, the important thing is that we're officially, what's happened in other communities is groups like this have done the work and then someone's had a problem with it and come back and said, well, you never got permission to do the work. So that's what we're trying to avoid, tier number one. Two, you should set a not to exceed, and I don't know if Ruth has a figure on what this old house number might end up pushing towards.
I would, one thing I would keep in mind is if the project exceeds 25,000, if it's 25,000 or more, then it'd have to go out for public bid, and that's a whole nother process and procedure. At this time, that process is not being followed because it's under 25,000. So you may want to consider approving this up to 25,000, or if it goes over, then they're going to have to follow and put it out for bid.
We're getting into semantics right now, but the direct purchase of the door does not qualify as labor. So it's when labor exceeds 25,000. So by direct purchasing the door, I don't think we're going to run into but it's a good point Mike's making. But I think you should be able to have some flexibility there with
Sure.
what your total award is.
What was that number, Ruth, the total with the door and all of that?
On the low end, 19.4, and just some gravy room would be about 21,000 because we're making a push button entry, and so we might have to get the electricity, and kind of how we get that is kind of a question mark. And just so you do know, we probably contacted 12 door companies. Three or four actually responded. We contacted 3 installers. We pretty much got 3 good bids minimum on each item on here, 3 electrical bids. We did do our due diligence, and we tried to keep things as local as possible for local contractors.
So I would actually recommend the motion to not exceed 25,000.
I was just going to ask I don't remember who seconded my
Yeah,
motion.
Who did the motion initially? Oh, you did?
Meyer and Rosted.
Okay. So are you willing to amend?
I would like to, yeah, I mean, she said 21,000. I would like to just give her the 25,000. So I'd like to amend my motion to approve with the costs of labor, not to exceed $25,000.
And you had the second, or Russ had? And you'll re-second? Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call?
Just a moment. Reed.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Rosted.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, then we will move on to consider and take action regarding the waiver of commercial driveway width at 333 Transit Road with a 47-foot width.
So move to approve the waiver of the commercial driveway not to exceed 47 feet at 333 Transit Road.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Rosted. Discussion, Alder Reed?
No,
You-
sorry.
No, you're good?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. Seeing none, then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and then next would be to consider and take action on Resolution 1-26, intention to join the statewide public safety interoperable communication system for Dodge County, Wisconsin grant program.
Motion to approve resolution 1-26.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rosted, second by Alder Roki. Any further discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then next would be to consider and take action on the wage study and proposed wage scale as presented.
I move to approve the wage scale as proposed.
Second.
Study?
The scale.
We want to approve just the scale right now, because there's other things that we're going to be bringing.
What the study is.
Correct.
Well, right.
The only thing we're making official is the
The
scale.
pros, yeah, yeah.
And I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Alder Lawson, second by Alder Meyer. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good. Then next would be to consider and take action on claims in the amount of $450,296.22.
I'll move to approve the claims in the amount of $450,296.22.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Meyer. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call.
Meyer,
Aye.
Rostad,
Aye.
Relke,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0.
Okay. Reports. Matt.
Just briefly want to highlight that there is utility work going on in the downtown on the James Street and Ludington intersection this evening to repair a water main leak. Crews are working to minimize that impact and hopefully have it resolved and taken care of this evening. So that's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thanks. I would like to extend my sympathies to the family of Doug Cotwell. Doug was an active member of our community. He served for many years on the Water and Light Commission, as well as serving on the board of directors of many other organizations. And infamous Heine Run over to Minnesota Junction for pizza every year. So Doug will surely be missed and just sad. So with that, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Right, motion by Alder Rolke, second by Alder Meyer to adjourn. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.